So hello there and welcome back to the channel. This is Mel's Gaming here with another The Hunter Call of the Wild video. Now this video was recorded during the early access for Emerald Coast, so a huge thank you to EW for allowing me to take part in this early access. Now for this video we're not actually going to be on Emerald Coast, we're going to be on Vahonga, Yukon, Silver Ridge Peaks and Hirschfelden to take a look at the species that have now got new Trucs, those being the Springbok, the European Bison and the Plains Bison. But we're going to start off with the Springbok, and this was the very first true horn Springbok that I actually ended up shooting, and it's a pretty decent looking little level 4. Now this is a smaller weight estimate level 4, but he actually looks pretty decent. A little bit smaller, I was thinking, than perhaps what we are used to, but that's an okay, small-ish, gold-looking Springbok. Maybe not the most impressive, but like I said, this isn't even a max weight estimate level 4, so I was very keen to see what we would see for some of the bigger and actually max weight estimate level 4 Springbok. And I did end up finding a max weight estimate level 4 Springbok here, and he's not going to be the only one that we take down from this group. Now I am using the 22250 here, and you can see managed to actually get 2 male Springbok on the ground to take a look at their horns. Now, we're starting off with the max weight estimate level 4, and I have to be honest, as I am always honest in my videos, I was not impressed. That's a max weight estimate level 4. To me, that is not impressive in any way. It doesn't look very good, it's not really got the proper hooks. To me, that didn't look very impressive at all, especially compared to what we're used to for Springbok. And, you know, like looking at the horns themselves, they're very small. And, you know, this is a max weight estimate level 4. So, I was not entirely impressed when I actually shot this. And we'll take a look at him here in the harvest screen. So he is a gold, which you would expect from a max weight estimate level 4. He scores 65.46, which, I don't know, I wasn't really keen on this at all when I first saw it. Like I said, for a max weight estimate level 4, I'm not very impressed. I would expect these kind of horns to be on a big level 3, a small level 4, but not a big level 4. And you can see here the requirements. So gold is 60.51 and diamond is 78.55. So at this point I was thinking, okay, maybe this is just a fairly small one still. But even still, I'm not the most impressed with how they look compared to a max weight estimate Springbok that we would have in game at the moment for a max weight estimate level 4, I mean. And I will put a comparison picture up on the side just so you guys can have a look and compare the legacy horns and the now Truc horns. I don't really like these, I'll be honest with you. I'm not very keen on them at all. I think a max weight estimate level 4 should have at least some decent hooks, and those aren't really very decent at all. They're very, very small. But, you know, they do get quite a bit bigger for diamond, so I was a little bit more hopeful about that. But then moving to take a look at the second Springbok that we actually shot, and this one looked a little bit more impressive. Sort of longer looking horns, which is of course obviously is going to make it slightly more impressive having that extra length to the horns. And then actually taking a look at it on the ground, it's got better hooks. So I was thinking, okay, maybe this is going to be a higher scoring male than the one that we just looked at, because it looks decently more impressive than the one that we just actually took a look at. You know, there's a lot of nicer features to these horns. But then we actually pick him up and take a look at the score. 61.85. I don't get why this scores lower than the one that we just looked at. To me, this is a much nicer looking Springbok, but it scores lower than that one that we just took a look at. And I don't really get why. You know, they look bigger in every way to me, so I wasn't sure about that. Now, once again, we have a max weight estimate level 4 here, and we also have a level 3. Now, the level 3s are very tiny, and we'll get to take a look at that just now. The females are also incredibly tiny now, but anything below a max weight estimate level 4 is pretty tiny, really, at this point. So this is now a level 3, and picking him up, as you would expect, he is a silver, but look how tiny he is. Like, compared to Legacy Level 3, this is absolutely tiny. And once again, I will try and get a picture of a Legacy Level 3 to put on screen and compare. Because this just looks so small to me. He's absolutely tiny. This is really, really small for a Level 3. I would expect a Level 3 to be a little bit bigger than this. You know, okay, maybe, you know, still silver scoring, but maybe with some better horns than that. And then once again, taking a look at the max weight estimate level 4. Once again, very stumpy, short, very worn looking horns. Not really got any good hooks on them. And once again, I was like, I don't like this. This is not what I was hoping for with the Springbok. And this one actually scores even higher than the first max weight estimate that we took a look at. This scores 67.28. Now, I think it has to be the width that's adding to the score, but my gosh, that's just not impressive to me. Like, I watch a lot of African hunting stuff with my fiance, who is actually from South Africa and has actually hunted these guys in real life, and we both agreed that that would be more of a cull Springbok than, you know, a gold trophy Springbok. So, really unfortunate. And again, just taking a look here before we actually take a shot. Tiny little level 3s now. Absolutely tiny. You basically can't even see the horns when they have their head down. They are really, really small now. And, you know, the females, obviously, you'd expect to be small, but the males aren't a whole lot bigger. You know, that level 2 female next to this level 3... it doesn't look a whole lot bigger than the female stood beside it, which I think is really kind of disappointing, honestly. But in this herd, we do have another max weight estimate level 4. So I'm just moving around here to either get him to go alert or to get a better shot angle in general. And here I can see that I have a shot into the lungs with the 22-250, and he's really not going to go very far from that. The 22-250 does a really good job on these guys, and he is going to go down right there. So let's go and take a closer look at him. Now, this one has slightly longer horns, I think, and yeah, just once again, no really good hooks on this. The tips look quite worn away, which if they're going for like a really old Springbok, maybe I can understand that. But I think it's unfortunate that these do not have like a better shape to them. It's an okay Springbok, but like I said, I'd expect this to be like more of a small level 4 or a level 3 set of horns. And once again, this one scores pretty decently again, 65.69. So these have all been pretty good scoring golds for these max weight estimate level 4s. But I'm not overly impressed by how the horns look. Now finally, I found a max weight estimate level 4 Springbok with some pretty decent sized looking horns on him. So once again, we are going to bring this guy down and we are going to go and take a closer look. Now these looked to be decently more impressive than any of the other max weight estimate level 4 Springbok that I'd actually taken a look at thus far. And this one actually doesn't look too bad. This is the best looking true horn Springbok that I actually saw. And I unfortunately couldn't find any level 5s, but this was the best and biggest level 4 I actually got to see. But taking a look at the score, this scores 72.61. So this scores quite a bit higher than the other ones that we've looked at. And when diamond is 78.55... I'm wondering how the diamonds are going to look. I don't think the diamonds are going to be as big or as impressive as the Legacy Horns Springbok. And I think that that's really unfortunate. Now, obviously, I haven't actually gotten to see any level 5 Springbok, and I could be very, very wrong. The level 5s might look absolutely incredible and blow us all out of the water. However, I do still think it's very important for smaller Springbok to look equally as good, because if you end up shooting a smaller rare, you still want that to look really good in your trophy lodge. And in my opinion, unless you're shooting a pretty high scoring max weight estimate level 4 or higher, it's not going to look that good. Because the smaller max weight estimates don't look impressive to me at all. Like, this has some nice shape to it. It's got some better hooks and some better shape. Like I said, the actual way the horns look is a lot nicer. But the smaller level 4s just weren't it for me, and I was really disappointed. But on to some happier and more lighter notes in this video, and we have the Plains Bison. Now, I managed to get a shot there on a decent sized level 4, and I tried to take a shot on the level 3 before he ended up fleeing. Now you can see the level 4 was aggressive and he is just going down. And as this level 3 just tries to run away and just get over that ridge there, I do manage to make a better second shot and he is now going down also. Now, walking up to take a look at this level 4, and this is the first true horns bison that I had ever seen. And the horns look pretty good. For a smaller level 4, I thought this looks pretty darn good. That's pretty nice. I like the shape of the horns, I like the coloration. It's nice to see them not just being like straight black, because that kind of made them look almost plasticky with the legacies. But the True Horns ones actually have some different colours, and I think that looks nice. Now, this is a 160.42 scoring bull, when Diamond is 183.50, so they're going to get a decent bit bigger than this guy. But seeing as this was the very first True Horns bison I ended up shooting, I wanted to include him in the video. And even though he's a smaller level 4, still decently impressive looking. I really like the shape of those horns. I think that they've done them really, really well. So, just a nice looking gold scoring Plains bison. Now, moving on to take a look at the level 3. Now, obviously the level 3 is going to be smaller, but still some pretty impressive looking horns, and again, nice to see the different colour in those horns. It's so much better with them actually having more than just the one colour, and actually having some scratches and stuff on them as well. It makes them look a whole lot better than the legacy horns. Now this guy, even though he looks pretty impressive, those are some pretty good looking horns, he is just a silver. He misses gold by a little bit. But, like I said, still a really good looking animal. And this is what I was saying with the Springbok. You know, you want to be able to shoot maybe a smaller level rare and still have it look good in the trophy lodge. And I think that they've managed that with Bison way more than they've managed that with the Springbok. Because, you know, a level 3 rare Bison, even if it's a silver like this one, I still think that's going to look decently impressive on the wall. Now here, we're going to take a look at another smaller weight estimate level 4. He's just trotting away here, and I was just trying to get a shot angle on him with the 300. Managed to sneak a shot there into his lungs, and you can see he is going down. But, like, even just looking at the horns on the animal while it's sort of running away like that, you can see that that's a pretty good size bull, and that is really awesome to actually see. Unfortunately, can't flatten down this red vegetation, but again, you can see some good size horns, again with the scratches and scrapes on them, which make them look really cool. And yeah, this is a good size level 4. Again, not a whole lot bigger than the other level 4 that we shot, but I think the horns are a little bit sort of wider. They're not as tight into the head, although that could just be because this one is a lot less fluffy than the previous level 4 that we shot. But again, still looks very impressive. That's still a beautiful looking bison. I really, really like the Plains Bison True Horns. I think they've done a fantastic job with them. Very impressive looking animals. And I'd say that they're probably a little bit more impressive than the legacies, in my opinion. I just think they look really, really good. And once we actually go a little bit further in the video, I will put up a comparison of a diamond legacy compared to the biggest bison that we end up finding. But before we get there, I ended up finding a little bonus while hunting the Plains Bison here on Yukon. That right there is a leucistic female Plains Bison, and that was a really nice little surprise. Now, obviously, it's not going to be very high scoring because it is a female. However, obviously the females have horns too, so they also now have true horns. So this is going to be just a bit of a bonus look to take a look at how the females actually look. And again, talking about the fact that you want your rares to look decent even if they're female or they're smaller, well, I think that the bison have got that pretty well nailed down. Like, even as a female, this looks pretty darn decent, I would say. Those are some decent sized horns for a female. Now, she's also a silver, which, again, you're not going to expect a female to score very high, but I think those horns look really good, and it's nice to see horns on even the females looking really good. For the Springbok, they were barely existent. You know, the females had tiny little horns in most cases. You'd get the occasional decent sized level 2, but I would say that the bison females, you know, they have decently impressive horns, and I'm really happy to actually see that, because it means that if you do get a female rare just like this, then it's going to look pretty good on the wall, you know, it's not going to look really, really tiny. So super happy to see that, and of course, just a really nice bonus, her being a leucistic. The leucistics look really, really pretty, I actually think. So yeah, just a nice little bonus to actually get while running around here on Yukon looking for some decent sized plains bison. Really nice to end up finding a rare. But now let's take a look at some bigger boys. We're going to take a look at a couple of max weight estimate bison bulls. Now, we have this guy here, and he is going to go down. Now, you may have noticed he was wounded. I did actually take a shot at him while he was running previously, and only just clipped him and then could never get another shot on him, but managed to bring him down this time. And immediately I noticed this about the horns. They have added a really cool detail where basically what they're trying to show is like the top layers of horn have actually been worn away towards the tip of the horn, which is something you will see because obviously horns are made of keratin and they are sort of layered like that, and you'll see layers get rubbed away as the horns are being used. So to see a big bull, you know, this would obviously be a bigger, older bull, having that kind of wear and tear on its horns, I think is absolutely fantastic. That's something that we haven't really seen before. And I absolutely love it, because you would expect any older animal that's got horns to have some of that horn rubbed away towards the tips. You know, sometimes they get broomed off and stuff and, you know, they've really worn them down. But this is like showing some of that wear. And even though he hasn't worn them down a whole lot, you can see some of those layers have disappeared. And I think that that's really, really cool to actually see. To have that captured in game, I think is absolutely fantastic. And he is a good size, you know, max weight estimate level 4 as well. So I'm really keen to see what the level 5s look like. Now, moving on to the next bison, and this time we're here on Silver Ridge Peaks again, and we do have another max weight estimate level 4. Now, throughout this video, I was basically trying to focus mainly on the bigger examples, because I know that that's what people are mainly interested in. It's obviously, as I said, good for the smaller ones to look good as well, but I feel like most of the interest is going to be on how the bigger, you know, big level 4s and, you know, potentially level 5s are going to end up looking. So I did try to focus mainly on max weight estimate animals for all 3 of these species. And this guy looks pretty similar to the previous max weight estimate level 4 bull that we brought down. Similar wear marks on the horns, which is really cool. And you can see the different shades of colour and how they actually mix, and all the different little scuffs and marks on the horns as well. Really cool to actually see. And again, we have a very good sized bull here at 172.17, and they're going to get, you know, about 9 points just over bigger to be a diamond. So I am imagining the diamonds are going to be super impressive, because honestly I wouldn't be upset if this is what a diamond looked like. I think this looks absolutely awesome. And it's going to be really interesting to see if level 4 bison now actually end up making diamond. That's something I'm going to be really interested in. Same with all of the 3 species in this video. The Euro bison, the plains bison and the Springbok. Will we end up seeing level 4 diamonds? I expect so. It happens quite a lot with animals that get tree racks and stuff, you know, things like mule deer ended up getting, you know, 1 level below max diamonds, so I'll be very interested to see if that happens with these guys as well. But finally, moving on to take a look at the European bison. And we have a good size level 4 here. Not max weight estimate, but still pretty good size. And he actually ended up going aggressive there, which unfortunately he doesn't like charge us or anything, but he doesn't actually run anywhere, so that makes actually harvesting him a lot easier. He basically just stood in the same place, so no tracking required. But take a look at those horns. I was immediately impressed. I saw this guy actually up there where he was with his herd, and I thought that this was maybe like a level 5, because those are some impressive looking horns. I'd say these are now much more impressive than they used to be with the legacy horns. I think the European Bison look awesome. Now this guy scores 116.73 and Diamond is 127.62. So they're going to get decently bigger than even this guy. And like I said, this wasn't even a max weight estimate level 4. This was just the first level 4 I came across. And he looks really impressive. Super, super impressive. Really, really cool to actually see that. That was one of the things I was hoping for, is that the European Bison might get just a bit bigger and a bit more impressive, because I really do like them. I think they're a species with a lot of character, and perhaps quite an underrated species, seeing as they are only on Hirschfelden, and a lot of people tend to not like Hirschfelden as much. But I think these guys are absolutely fantastic, and them getting the true horns, I think is really, really cool. And I definitely am going to be hunting for a diamond one, because, you know, that looks amazing. So I can only imagine what a level 5 looks like. Now, I did say trying to mainly focus on max weight estimate animals for this video, and I did end up finding a few max weight estimate European Bison. Now, I oofed that shot, unfortunately. He turned just as I was going to take that shot, and as you can see, he's running off, but he isn't actually dropping health. Now, he was actually going to go down from that shot. I hit him too far back, and, you know, that's really unfortunate, but I was expecting, you know, seeing as this is a level 4, that he probably wasn't going to be a diamond level 4 or anything, so I was just more interested in actually getting him down and being able to take a look at the horns, because that is what this video is all about. Now, unfortunately, of course, we do lose the harvest check because we didn't actually hit the vitals, but you can see this is a 120.56 scoring bull. So getting closer to that diamond size, and you can see the difference in this guy's horns compared to the previous level 4. Now obviously this guy is going to be bigger, being a max weight estimate level 4, and I think those horns look epic. The way that they curl back over the top of his head, I think that looks awesome. And again, I think this is a very impressive looking bull. Very, very impressive. Super happy to see that these guys look so darn good. Now once again we have another max weight estimate level 4 here, and we actually had a smaller bull in this herd here too, and I decided that I was going to try and take him as well, just so that we could get a little bit of a look at what a level 3 looks like, as well as some of these bigger bulls. Now you can see the max weight estimate there is just dropping, and the level 3 is going to go down any second now. So they didn't go too far basically from those shots, so those shots I was pretty happy with. But we're going to actually start off by taking a look at the second bison we shot, which is the level 3. And the first thing I noticed was this huge scratch mark on the one horn that he has. Like, look at that. That's a very noticeable and distinguishing feature on this bull. You can see all the smaller scratch marks and bumps and stuff on the horns where he's, you know, obviously knocked into things or fought with other bulls, and it's made these little scratches, little bump marks and stuff, but that one horn having that huge scratch on it looked so cool to me. And what's even cooler is when you take a look, the other horn doesn't have it. It's only on his one horn. And that looks so much cooler to me because, you know, if it was even, it maybe looks a little bit odd, you know, 2 perfect scratches in exactly the same place. But having one horn with a big scratch on it, I think that's just so cool and so unique, and I hope that, you know, the bigger bulls can get features like that, because imagine getting a diamond European Bison and one of his horns has got this big scratch up it. It's going to make him so much more unique, and I absolutely love that. Seeing that detail is absolutely fantastic. Really hats off to the devs with that one. I really like that. And that's something I noticed with this bull as well. You can see, again, some different wear and tear marks. A decent sized scratch and some little, like, again, sort of bump marks where he's obviously hit it and it's made little scuffs on the horns, which looks so cool. It adds so much life and character to these animals to see little marks like that. And I'm really, really pleased to see that the devs have done this. And that's something as well that I noticed with the bison, as well, I'd say more so than even with the Springbok, is that the horns were never sort of uneven and weird looking. It's not like the black buck where sometimes you'll have a horn that's a completely different colour and a different size and stuff like that. I'd say for all of them, actually including the Springbok, there was none that didn't really fit together, and that's something I really like to see. I saw more unevenness in the Springbok than the bison, But even still, I'd say all three of them, the horns ended up matching pretty well on every animal, which is really positive, and I'm very happy to see that. As much as I'm not so happy with the Springbok true horns, I am pleased about that. It's never really very good looking to get two completely mismatched horns that are completely different colours, slightly different shades, different scratch marks, all of that, that's cool. But you don't want completely, wildly uneven, completely different colours, like one horn's black and one horn's white, because it just doesn't make sense. But once again, we have another max weight estimate level 4 going down here, and I was considering taking a shot at that smaller level 4, but he did end up getting away before I could actually get a shot I was comfortable with. But going to take a look at this big guy on the ground, and once again you can see he has basically the same horns from what I can see as the previous level 4, same sort of marks on those horns, that's what it looks like to me. But again, very, very impressive looking, and he is a pretty good size one. Again, very similar score to the previous one, 117.83, but again, a very impressive bull. I can only imagine what the level 5s for these guys are going to look like, and I absolutely cannot wait. I'm very, very keen to see a big diamond European bison now, because I think that even these big level 4s look more impressive than perhaps a previous diamond European bison, and I will put some comparisons up on the screen as well so you can see. I think they've done a really, really fantastic job of the Plains bison and the European bison. And I'm really, really happy about that. I think it's cool that the bison have got some love and that they've got these true horns now, and they look absolutely fantastic. As I said, I am a little bit disappointed with the Springbok. I wish that they looked different. I wish that the max weight estimate level 4s were actually more impressive and had those bigger horns like we're used to. They don't have to be as big, but just bigger. And, you know, things like the level 3s maybe not being quite so tiny. I think that there's some improvements that really could be made with the Springbok. But, of course, didn't get to see a level 5 for those in this video or for any of the species. So maybe the level 5 Springbok look awesome, and, you know, that'll be really good. You know, diamonds are what most people are going to be focusing on, but I do like to see the smaller ones looking just as good, because, you know, if I saw a max weight estimate albino, I want that to have some decently impressive horns for the trophy lodge, right? So, yeah, I hope that maybe they'll revisit the Springbok, because, yeah, I'm not too impressed with those. But that is going to be it for this video, so thank you so, so much for watching. Please let me know down in the comments what you think about all three of these new tree racks. Let me know what you think of the Springbok. Are you disappointed with how they look? Do you think they look right? From everything I've looked at, compared, talked to people about, like I said, including my fiance, they just don't look the way I was hoping for. But the two bison species I'm seriously impressed with. So I'm really keen to actually see some diamonds for those. But that is going to be it for this one. So thank you so, so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.